Hey everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I am the founder of Forward Partners, and I am joined by the lovely and talented partner in podcasting, Emily Gray Steele.
Yep.
The title got really long there, didn't it?
Okay.
Emily, what are we talking about today?
Kind of a question or a scenario for you.
Okay.
My team's squabbles have begun to bleed. Oh, that's a lot of
Yes,
S's.
my team's squabbles.
My team's squabbles have begun to bleed over and affect our customers negatively.
Okay.
How do we make sure our customers are insulated from our day-to-day drama of our organization?
So what's interesting is this is not unusual, and it's also not possible to do what they're asking. How do we insulate customers from the crazy behind the scenes, right? The reality is they're going to be affected.
Yeah.
And I think we have to understand that first. We have to start with the idea that it is not enough to try to hide the crazy and try to keep everybody safe. We got to fix the crazy.
Solve some crazy.
We got to solve some crazy. And so I think that's the thing we have to think through first is there's this basic idea that we create out of what we already are. And so if we have employees that are angry, they're going to have encounters with other people that are not, even if they're not totally rude to them, you're going to tell something's off, right? If they're afraid, they're going to create more fear. You know, if they're jealous of somebody else, they're going to create more jealousy. And so it is hard to create that wonderful customer encounter without employees who are already showing up in that mode.
Yeah, this makes me think of I'm watching The Bear, the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes me think of when they're kind of like in the back doing all the crazy shenanigans. The people are up front trying to order, and then the crazy kind of overflows right there at the kind of register. And people are trying to order, but they're literally yelling and like cussing at each other there.
They're just screaming at each other. And man, if I was in that line, I would
can't even order a sandwich.
Just
you don't
want
even
a sandwich, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Do we need to listen to this? And it's funny, it is that. It's funny you bring up The Bear because I was thinking of it from, I've been watching Hell's Kitchen. And like I know people show up to that restaurant for the drama, but I can only imagine trying to eat while people are screaming at each other in the kitchen. That's crazy.
And, like, this is real restful.
Yes. And that happens. That kind of thing happens all the time. And so I think we have to understand the environment we create as leaders is what is going to dictate that. And so if we create an environment where people love showing up, and the way I always think about it is if you want people to love showing up and giving you money, you need employees that love showing up to give their time.
Yeah.
And if we can make that happen, give them that sense of purpose. And that's the piece of this that I think is often missing is we need that sense of purpose. We need that sense of impact and vision and where are we going and how are we going to work together? How are we going to do these things? That doesn't happen by accident, does it?
No.
Like it's
not a lot happens by accident.
That's fair.
That's the intentionality that we
talk
about.
That's fair. You have to be very intentional about it because the thing is when we don't define those things, when we don't sit with our team and create those things and create agreements, everybody's going to make their own.
Yeah.
They're going to have their own purpose. They're going to have their own set of values, their own set of how we do things. And a lot of it, if they're not healthy, is going to be inward focused instead of outward focused.
Right.
And so we have to very intentionally create that environment and understand it is not, we can't insulate our customers. It is create an environment people love showing up to.
Want to be a part of, yeah.
That's that thriving team we talk about all the time. The first piece of a thriving team in our definition is they're united in purpose.
Yeah.
We're together. We know what we're meant to do. We know the impact we're meant to have. That becomes exciting.
And even on days when you're having a hard time, the team is there to help you if you're there and vulnerable and having that conversation. So people are still understanding of it.
Yes, and part of the agreements we need to set is how are we going to handle bad days?
Yeah.
When you show up and you're not having a good day, how are we going to handle that? How do we process that? How do we challenge each other? And we talk a lot about that, about just defining frameworks. Because I think often as teams, once we have a framework for how something should operate, we're much more likely to stay within that.
Yes.
We just have to define that. And so that's a big piece of this is just understanding whatever environment people are creating out of, that is what they're going to make more of. And so that is on us as leaders. That's part of that responsibility. We seem to be coming back to that every time. And it really even ties back into last episode. If we're in dictator mode and creating that sense of fear around all over the place, right? We're going to have problems like this.
I was even thinking of the Brene Brown quote that we were talking about, being reasonable versus unreasonable. You have to listen a few episodes back, but we have to deal with
We'll
fears.
put a link in the show notes.
You have to deal with fears and feelings because fears and feelings exist. And if you want a good environment, then you kind of have a framework to work with that so you can have a thriving team, and happy customers.
Yeah, if you want happy customers, you need a happy team, happy employees.
Mm-hmm.
If you want thriving customers and a thriving business, you have to have a thriving team.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have to start. Thank you for that conversation. Leaders, just think about that. Think about your environment, your customers. What are you creating? Because whatever you are creating out of, whatever you already are is what you're going to make more of. And that is true of your team. That's true of your organization. Make sure you are creating out of a place of life and health and purpose. And that's where you're going to find what you're looking for with those customer interactions. Make sure they experience that every single time they interact with you. All right. I love this idea. I love this conversation. Thank you for doing this. If people want to send us ideas for episodes, questions, quotes, where do they send those?
lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find us on the socials where we're putting out all kinds of leadership content.
Yeah. At Forward Partner.
At Forward Partner.
Sorry, I thought you were going to keep going.
We're still waiting on Chick-fil-A. We're still, if you go back
I don't think we can blame everything
2
on
episodes
lunch.
ago, we were waiting on Chick-fil-A. We're still waiting. My stomach is literally growling. I'm hoping it doesn't pick up in the mics. All right. Thank you for doing this, Emily. There's always the pre and post lunch episodes. We kind of crashed the plane at the end, so we are headed down.
Listen, if they're still listening, maybe they're here for the crash. It's okay.
Thank you for still being here. Emily, thank you for doing this. Ben, thank you for producing. That's a thing you do. And Wicca Workspaces, thank you for partnering with us on this podcast. We will see you in the Leader Lab next time for Leadership Shorts.